TV show where there was hidden cameras, you know, like, is this a joke? Is she really putting it on? And of course, you know, yes, there are some shocker accents. So Crocodile Dundee, Steve Irwin, 10% of Australians talk like that. When you send students to Australia, they're not going to get that accent much. So now, 14 years later, Aussie English is gaining acceptance even in Japan. How did this happen? In 1999, Kate Winslet, after her standout role in Titanic, took a very interesting role in an Australian movie called Holy Smoke, and she played an Australian character. And she didn't talk like this, she just talked like a normal Australian. Then the same year, Heath Ledger starred in a pretty famous movie, 10 Things I Hate About You, which is a remake of Shakespeare's, not Merchant of Venice, but anyway, it'll come to me. Anyway, quite famous movie, and he played an Aussie character using an Aussie sort of accent in a mainstream American movie. And like, Americans have never heard this except for Crocodile Dundee. But the breakthrough came, I think, with Moulin Rouge in 2001. I'll never forget going to Ginza, sitting down to watch the movie, and in the first scene, everyone, bar one character who's American, is using Australian English. And it's like, oh, this is an international movie, and it's set in Paris, and they're using Australian English. They're not pretending to be English or stuff. And the whole movie, I was like, that was a real breakthrough, I think. Nicole Kidman, Heath Ledger, Russell Crowe, Kate Blanchett, Naomi Watts, Eric Bana. Last year he starred in a movie called Funny People, where he played an Australian character and he was using an Australian accent. Rachel Griffiths, Geoffrey Rush, Oscar winner, Toni Collette. All these actors are now being constantly interviewed, and the whole world has now understanding that Australian English is a nice accent. It's nice, and you'll see a lot of blogs talking about, oh, what's my favourite accent in the world, and often will be Australian, because to American ears and UK ears, it's neutral, it's friendly, it's nice. We don't all sound like Paul Hogan. In 2007, I re-recorded the whole of the Tokaido Shinkansen using a cultivated Australian accent. Of course, I didn't tell them what I was doing. They think it's a UK accent. Any Aussie who gets on that train, they'll go, oh, she sounds like a posh Aussie. So, yeah, like a documentary I recorded about climate change in 2007 won an award in New York for MICO, which is a subsidiary of NHK. I used Aussie English. That day my cat died as well, so I was actually quite proud that I won an award, because I was like, I had to, you know, every page I'd make a mistake and start crying. Now, in 2010, NHK's second series of Little Chuddo has a main character. Little Chuddo's mother, played by me, is using Aussie English. And I think this is probably the first time in educational programming in Japan where Australian English is now mainstream. Now, thank you to TOEIC. Because of TOEIC, a few years ago, all of a sudden they had to do Australian, New Zealand, Canadian, though I can't see the difference between Canadian and American, but anyway. Anyway, so now Australian English is becoming mainstream. Why is Aussie English a good accent to have? And I'm just about to finish. Australia's a small, friendly, cultured country. Aussie English reflects this. Unlike American English, and to a lesser extent UK English, it's politically and socio-economically neutral. When you hear someone from Australia talk, you don't think that they're looking down on you usually. Or if they've got an American accent, my God, I just love you people! You don't feel like they're, overbearing. You feel relaxed. People feel relaxed with an Australian accent. But now to finish, I've got some sad news for you. Get your tissues out. Most of your students going to Australia will never pick up an Australian accent. And I know that's upsetting. They'll only pick up an Australian accent if they study there for years and years, and perhaps move there when they're a child and stay there for 10 years. Then they might pick up an accent. My husband taught at many years at Tokyo University, and he's taught many returnees who've got excellent English. And he says the only way he can really tell where someone's spent a lot of their time before they come back to Japan is their vocabulary. So a girl was saying, oh, I saw heaps of movies on the weekend, and he can go, only in Australia would use that word. Have you lived in Australia? And she goes, how did you know? And it's the vocab that made him realise that she was Australian. This is after living there for many years. So unfortunately they won't come back with a wonderful Aussie accent, but they may come back, we hope, with many happy memories of spending time in a beautiful, relaxed and safe country called Australia. Thank you very much for listening. Oh, okay, sorry. I have to do this first. This is what. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shinkansen. This is an Ozomi Super Express bound to Shin Osaka Station. We'll be stopping at Nagoya and Kyoto Station. Shin Osaka Terminal. The conductor's car is in car number 10.